Hello all, welcome back. So you thought the YouTube channel was retired. You thought Nat Geo Teach wasn't coming back. Well, great news. I'm back. Now we're going to have a quiz review, mostly vocab, on some words and topics we've covered in the last 2 weeks or so. Okay? So if you haven't done so already, please grab a piece of paper and a pencil. If you haven't done so already, pause the video, do it now. Alright. Well, the first word we are going to go over is a pioneer. We talked a lot about these people. Basically, any American citizen who traveled west during the 1840s. And these people were usually taking a gamble, usually in search of a better life, maybe for more money, freedom, opportunity, etc. Now, remember, this search can come at a great cost. Remember the Donner Party who got stuck in the Sierra Nevada mountains and, ended up eating each other. So we don't want to end up like the Donner Party, but you might get rich. Now, the next word that we are going to discuss, our vocabulary word, is manifest destiny. Remember that manifest destiny means that it's the idea that all Americans their God-given right is to expand all the way to the West Coast, all the way to the Pacific Ocean. Now, the person who painted this was John Gaston, and the title is American Progress. When we analyzed this photograph in class, or rather this painting, is that we decided that the people who were there from the start, the animals, the Native Americans, were being pushed away or pushed west or to places they don't want to be by our ever-growing society. We see trains, we see technology, we see electricity, we see modern ways of farming, and we see the light, the brightness, being carried to the darkness, to the uncivilized, or so we thought. Industrialization. Industrialization means the shift to large-scale production in factories. Now, this plays into the project that we did, and we made a slideshow about maybe one new invention, like the camera, cotton wheel, and spinning wheel. Okay, cotton gin, Eli Whitney, that's probably a lot of people did that one, is basically easily taking the seeds out of a piece of cotton. Abolition, the movement to end slavery for good. Now, this idea of abolition, ending slavery, came about when President Lincoln was first elected and later became the standpoint of the American Civil War. Secede. Secede as a word means to formally withdraw. Now, during our American Civil War, 11 southern states seceded the Union because they felt that the northern states and President Lincoln did not understand that slavery was needed for their economies. And they really just didn't understand they thought the northern states were basically just ignoring them. They had larger economies, larger populations, and a lot of these states down here felt like they weren't really a part of the whole picture. Now, remember, and I didn't include this in here, they were also upset about these new territories. Should they become a slave state, the red ones, or should they become a non-slave state, like the rest of the blue ones? Civil War. Any civil war, and the definition is, a civil war is a war between opposing groups of citizens in the same country. Now, I just, for some reason, decided to, obviously so, put a picture of the American Civil War in here. So we have the Union, kind of like the American flag we have today, and then we have, remember, that Confederate Rebellion Southern flag. So the Union in blue, and then the Southern soldiers in the red and brown. Emancipation Proclamation. This Emancipation Proclamation, when someone makes a proclamation, they're very serious about something, and they're demanding President Lincoln, by the President of the United States, there's Lincoln, freed all slaves in the states in rebellion during this American Civil War, and it was delivered by President Lincoln. You can kind of see it if you kind of zoom in on it. Shall be free. Okay, that means all slaves in the. Sorry, I didn't mean to put a selfie of myself in there. Anyway, to World War I. Now we're going to skip ahead quite a bit. Remember that World War I was from 1914 to 1918. In World War I, we didn't see the traditional warfare where you met in an open field. Troops stayed in their trenches and they kind of shot at each other from across these holes or this very large trench that went for miles. We saw new weapons in World War I, like the tank, better automatic weapons. We saw new artillery, poisonous gas, etc. So many new things. Alliances also made it a world war. So basically, a neighboring country would say, hey, if you're going to fight, well, I'll fight with you. Well, if you're going to fight, I'll fight with you too. So then all of these countries, because they made partnerships or agreements, would help each other fight. World War II, 1939 to 1945. So the main players, the bad guys, so-and-so, were Germany, Italy, and Japan. We talked more so about these two fascist dictators. Remember, a dictator rules with absolute power. So we have Hitler here on our left. We have Mussolini here on our right. As we go down a couple more of these atomic weapons, remember this was the first war and the first time ever in history that an atomic weapon was used in actual warfare. So it was used against Japan. And that was since the war, here's Europe over here, since the war in Europe came to a close, we were still fighting this war over here in the Pacific. Now, we wanted the war to end quickly, so the United States used 2 atomic weapons. Our last bold point is the Holocaust. Remember Hitler's organized murder of Jews and other groups of people. So his twisted, demented mind had an idea that, remember, Germany, all our problems are because of the Jewish people and other inferior races. So we have to round them up, take them in trains to work camps. We have to take them to concentration camps to essentially kill them. Skipping to the history of Mexico, you need to know the Maya before the Aztecs. They came before the Aztecs. Basically, they wrote in hieroglyphics. Hieroglyphics is symbols to represent words. And we also have to remember the Aztecs. The Aztecs came after the Maya. They're much more aggressive. Remember the the princess was supposed to get married, but instead of getting married, she was put on a slab and they cut her heart out as an offering to their many gods, because they are a polytheistic society. They believe in multiple gods. Now, after you're done watching this, quiz a partner for about 10 minutes. So you should have, while this video is running, taken some notes. So the whole idea behind this is to take this paper home and study. Watch it again if you want. That's what the purpose of this on YouTube. And you will be very successful on our Friday quiz. Thank you, guys.